What is up, everyone? Welcome back. We are the Sports Budz. This is the NFL show. I am your host, Tony Reyes. Joining me, as always, are my co-hosts, Chris Billings and Nick Kerr. How are you gentlemen doing this evening?
Doing good.
Chris?
Just popping in to get a danger witch real quick. I heard it's
It doesn't
spicy.
sound like you're doing too good. Tell us why you're at Subway, Chris.
I gotta support my QB, man. Subway supports him, so I gotta support Subway.
Gotta support the sandwich man.
Yeah, it's dark times over here in Broncos Country, so we need a little bit of support going around. So if you could get a danger witch, if you can, ladies and gentlemen, support the cause or go to Walmart.
You're in the trust tree. Share with us some thoughts that you're having on the Broncos after they lost to the Chargers in overtime 19-16.
It's bad, man. It's bad. Like you can sense just like the discord and I guess toxicity occurring in the locker room at this point, and we're already at week 7 right now. Like that's early. It's not good. Like coach most likely out, players most likely gone at the trade deadline. And so it's just, like honestly, it's one of the low points in probably Broncos history. Like losing like a Super Bowl against Russell Wilson, as ironic as it is. He seems to be beating us once again. And just like there's been some other, like the McDaniels kind of era as well was definitely a low point. So yeah, it's bad. And we're honestly, you've said it before, we're spoiled. We're not used to this sort of thing, so we're not handling it well. So we might be lashing out. There might be a little, bipolar behavior going on with Broncos fans at the moment. So
we've all lived in Denver. We all know how you fans are.
So we are spoiled. So we do not handle the dark times well.
Do you agree with Billings, Nick, that Hackett is going to get buried and that this whole experiment just needs to be blown up and that the Broncos made a mistake?
I mean, I was going against Chris last week when he was talking about it, but after seeing it another week in a row on prime time, I think that, there was so much expectation with this team and it's just not working.
And so Adam Schefter, I heard today on the radio, basically saying like the vibe before that game against the Chargers was like, all right, like we have to turn our season around. Like this is the game. Like if we fail at this, we're fucked. We've got to turn it around. Like that was the energy. And they still blew it. So like you have to figure there's gonna be some changes when that was kind of the feeling across the board. And Schefter was talking like this is all the way up to ownership. So you have to feel that changes are coming when you set that expectation and you still fail miserably at it.
I wish it was that easy for me to agree with you, because it's the first couple of drives of that game, Russell Wilson, I feel like he completed like 12 or something. And I was like, this is what it's supposed to look like. This is what the Broncos were supposed to look like with Russell Wilson. And in that same game, like in the second quarter, third quarter, I'm like, this guy doesn't know how to play quarterback. He literally doesn't know how to play quarterback. And so I don't understand. Like, I don't think it's Hackett's fault at all. Like, I honestly don't think it's Hackett's fault.
I think like a large part of just like player performance and just like even down to like the whole Melvin Gordon, Jerry Jeudy on the sidelines, basically bitching with one another. Like that does go to coaching. Like that does go to leadership. Like, and we were comparing Russell Wilson to Peyton Manning. Like with Peyton Manning, that would have never happened. No. So you're not getting that leadership from Russell Wilson either. So he's just as guilty. But yeah, when you're a first year coach and they paid the quarterback as much as they did. Like, yeah, he's a dead man walking at this point. If they hadn't paid Russ and maybe like he had some experience, different situation, like, yeah, they'd give him some more time. I think he's in a bad situation.
Even getting rid of Hackett, I don't know how to fix this Russell Wilson offense. He ignores the middle of the field so much. And even like I was saying,
I don't think he can see it. I don't think he can see the middle of the field, to be honest.
There has to be some type of way to generate offense that way and to generate some type of looks and production that way. And like I said earlier in the game, he was going to the outside only and they were having success. So I just don't know if getting rid of Hackett, like you said last episode, bringing in a strong defensive coach like a Dan Quinn, similar to the Pete Carroll vibes that he had in Seattle, to like stabilize the locker room and then just let Russell Wilson kind of just be like a game manager, playoff play action. I don't know who that coach is. I don't know who that is. Do you think it's the defensive coordinator? Do you think it's Evero? Do you want to see him take the reins?
No. Because
No.
then you take his focus off of the defense that's performing well.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And you're diluting the one thing that's working for us.
But don't you worry that you might lose him to be a head coach somewhere else?
Like, it's so bad. Like, you were kind of just a blow it up mode, honestly, at this point. Like, you got Russ, and that's about it. Like, not even, I'd say, like, the GM George Payton's job is secure. Like, they could very well just clear house with everyone aside from Russell Wilson. So I don't know. Like, that's just really like how bad the situation is.
Dark times. I don't know how to fix it. I don't understand how it's supposed to work over there. It could be one of these ironic situations in which Russell
I think
Wilson.
it's just sorry to interrupt. It's a leadership vacuum. I think it's Hackett just doesn't have the credibility or just necessarily the experience or wisdom to lead this team. And I think what Russell Wilson has put out this far has been phony. It's been fraudulent. And so like it's created like this weird vacuum with the team of like Hackett hadn't been able to step into it, and everybody's saying like, oh, Russ isn't the leader that like he clearly was cracked up to be. Like, he's just a lot of talk. Like, there is such a thing as toxic positivity. And I think Russ is like, that's honestly what's going on, where it's like, nah, man, we're tired of fucking hearing from you.
But I don't think this is like a new thing. Like, this is what Russell Wilson has been for.
I think we lost Tony.
Okay, I was like, I thought it was me this time. Hey, welcome back, host.
I'm back. I don't know what happened. I don't know. The Russell Wilson Mafia knew I was talking bad about him. They cut me off. They cut me off. The conspiracy is real. Cannot believe this nonsense, man. Can't believe it. But like I say, I don't know what's going to look like a good offense with Russell Wilson anymore. I don't know.
I think honestly, like that's the point we're at. That like he's like, they'll probably give him a different coach next season and see how he performs. And beyond that, like, they don't have really any allegiance to him. Like the Waltons could very much say adios. We've seen it. Like, we've seen the accounting wizardry that they do in the NFL and cap wizardry, where like somehow like they could write it off and get somebody else, or very well could just find somebody in the draft. Like, you never know, that could also happen as well. That you
But
find
his stock
somebody.
has definitely taken a plunge. First from Seattle, now what he's done so far this season. How much capital can you really get back, especially with that enormous contract he just signed?
Well, I'll flip it back on you guys. Do you think if he keeps it going like he is right now, like, is he not going to be a Hall of Fame quarterback?
No.
I think he'd probably eventually get there based on what he did early in his career, but he'd be one of those ones that is probably going to take
Like it's one thing for
5 to 10
Eli
years.
Manning when you have two,
Mhm.
and they came against, Brady in just the fashion that they came.
Yeah.
But like Russell Wilson, it's you won one, you lost one.
No Hall of Fame. Too much Joe Flacco vibes. Not happening. And I guess I don't think this is a Denver problem. I think you could try and change all the surroundings around Russell Wilson. Like I don't think that there's fixing him at this point. He has to fix how he plays, and I don't see him doing that. So I don't think it matters who you put around him.
Bad stuff going on here.
Sticking with the bad stuff. Sticking with the bad stuff. What's going on with this Jim Irsay guy? We're just randomly bringing up Dan Snyder at an owners meeting like this. Does this change anything?
With what?
With
whether
Snyder being eventually forced to sell the team.
I don't know. I mean, does he think that he can get 2/3 of the owners? I mean, how much dirt does Snyder have on all these other owners? Is he going to get, what is it, 24 votes to vote him out?
24 votes.
Yep.
That's the question right there. What does he have on these other owners? He's
Well,
only going to have stuff on 9 people.
It's kind of telling that somebody like Irsay, with the public baggage that he has already, he's just pretty much saying like, fuck it, like show your dirt, man. Like we ain't got nothing to hide. So it's a step in the right direction. It's certainly a crack in the dam, but like I'd say at this point, like I don't think they have the votes.
It's difficult because they're pieces of shit. All the owners are just like garbage. Like they do not care about personal conduct. From what I read, that like giant Don Van Natta piece, and it like goes in depth and it shows everything. And like the real reason why the owners want to get rid of him is because he's losing the money and he can't get a stadium built. He's like the only owner in professional sports that can't get a stadium built. Like politicians, the greasiest people that we have in this country are like, nah, I don't want to work with Dan Snyder. I don't want to deal with this man. So, I mean, that could be the only thing where they're like, dude, you can't get a stadium built like in your entire area for Washington. Like you have to sell your team. Like they can't keep playing in the worst stadium in the league, man. That's the only possibility that I'm seeing.
I think though, like secretly it's the Mark Cuban self-preservation kind of like, oh, the slippery slope. Like if they go for him, they can come for us. Like I think that's ultimately their worry. Like definitely someone like Jerry Jones of like, no, like I don't want to screw with his stuff because then they'll start screwing with my stuff. So I don't see it happening, but also there's still like an active investigation going on. So there might be more released where like, they might say, hey, actually we have a shit ton of dirt on you and here you go. And at that point, like it might be like overwhelming just public perception of them of just like, yeah, you gotta go. And I think there might be a point even where he realizes it, like, well, yeah, my goose is cooked and I'm out of here.
Yep. Like what happened with Sarver and the Suns.
Pretty much.
Yep. All right. Enough of this nonsense. Let's get to some of this good news here. This is in fact good news here. We have Tua returning as starting quarterback for the Dolphins. We have Nick, who is not Tuanon, here to share his thoughts.
we.
I mean, things are starting to look up hopefully for the Dolphins right now. Tua is coming back. He cleared protocols. Enough with these backup quarterbacks who analysts before the season said would do a much better job than Tua. As we could see, the first 3 games of the year compared to these last 3, he was missing. And it stinks that it took him to be away with this media circus around his concussion. But happy he's back. Excited to see him Sunday night. I will of course be there, trying to record with you guys on your post game as I'm walking up to the stadium. But yeah, the fan base down here is really excited, and we can't wait.
Well, we know Flores is a defensive coach for the Steelers, so you have that angle of it. Speaking of that, what do you think he's going to try and do? Like, I'm expecting him to try and make Tua win the game and like do.
I mean, it's not like he's a defensive coordinator; he's a linebacker coach.
Yeah,
I don't know how
have
much. Yeah, he'll have a say in his linebackers, but this
He'll have something to
Tua
say.
even,
He'll know his tendencies.
yeah, but this is still coming from a coach that didn't know how to use them. And the scheme that Tua's running now is night and day from what Flores saw in practice every day.
Yeah, he didn't see the upside with Tua, but he saw the flaws though, and he's certainly going to use that against him. But I don't think it's going to matter. Like Minka Fitzpatrick can't cover Waddle,
and Tiger Hill at the same time.
Yeah, so good luck. But honestly, we talked about it on the post game last time. Of like, I think this was kind of a good thing for Tua and the Dolphins. It shows like he moves the needle for that team. Like it's no more of this debate of like the Ryan Fitzpatricks or the Teddy Bridgewaters. It's like, no, this is Tua's team. He's the one that like we go with Tua where Tua goes. And like I think that builds something with a team that they see the difference. Like even down to the offensive line, I think they're saying like, nah, we have no shot with those other fucking guys. Like we need to protect him. Like he is everything on a season. Yeah.
Yeah. The energy in practice, the energy in the meetings, you see his teammates having fun with him.
Yeah.
There was always this narrative before that his teammates didn't like him, and that's just not it. They love him. They are better when he's around.
To quote Draft Day, who went to his birthday party?
I do agree with this. I think Tua is much more appreciated after he's been out the past few weeks. So I am interested to see this. I am excited to see Tua. I think he is going to ball out. I think he's going to ball out on Sunday. I have a good feeling for this.
I think like honestly, like he's silenced the haters. Like he's not a topic on any of the big media shows anymore of just like, oh, no, this is to his team. And so like I think the last few weeks have been good. And like despite like the Dolphins like having the losses that they've had, like everybody's understood like, oh, it's because they don't have Tua and the energy is much different, but when he comes back, like this team will be a contender. And so, yeah, like it's been good, and it's good that it happened early in the season as well. Like it's good to get this out of the way and carry forward now.
Let's move forward. Speaking of another returning starter, I've got Dak Prescott returning as quarterback for the Cowboys this weekend. The Cooper Rush, Dak Prescott quarterback controversy kind of got killed by the Eagles, Nick. We kind of reviewed that on the post game. Kind of got killed by the Eagles.
I was trying to feed it, but they put a stop to that on Sunday night.
I'm interested to see how they balance this out because I felt like the Cowboys, Mike McCarthy, man, that guy, he's got to get some credit. He won so many more games without Dak Prescott than I ever thought he would. And they like manage the game for Cooper Rush so much better than they do for Dak Prescott. I feel like they don't make it easy for Dak. They're like, oh, well, he can do the difficult things, so let's just let him do whatever he wants. And so like he didn't get like the easy throws, the easy checkdowns, and they didn't protect him as well as they protected Cooper Rush. So I'm interested to see how they kind of adjust to that. And I feel like they need to do that for him to have that type of success. And give him some of those easy throws and easy completions that they gave Cooper Rush, especially coming up against this Lions team that has had a pretty weak defense.
That's what I was about to say, is that at least he's going up against an opponent that can't stop anyone right now.
Yeah.
Like, honestly, yeah, like credit to Mike McCarthy. Like he's done things that Mr. Clap his hands didn't do, Jason Garrett. He's made adjustments
Yes,
depending on the
yes.
situation. And so that is honestly just leaps better than what they've had in the years previous. So he does deserve credit. I know a lot of people just see like this low energy guy on the sidelines and automatically want to write him off, but he does deserve some credit for what he's done with the Cowboys thus far.
He's done pretty well without Dak. Just still, I mean, there's always some questionable things that are going to happen in every game. I mean, no coach is perfect, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. I'm interested to see how much better that team looks if the offense takes another step. If they actually look like one of these teams that could be a contender, that could be one of the few contenders in the NFC, since it seems like it's a down year for them.
Yeah.
All right. Speaking of these top teams, let's move forward to these power rankings. I don't think we do need to talk about the top teams too much. It looks like there's consensus among most in the league. Bills, Eagles, and Chiefs are your top three teams in some type of order, however you want to arrange it.
I'll just say it straight up to all of I know we're gonna get pushback from the Eagles fan. That why aren't they ranked number one? Because like right now, if they went up against the Bills, they'd get stomped. I can say that definitively.
Yes.
I would
The
probably
Bills have definitely had a much harder schedule thus far in the season.
I would agree with that. But yes, they would be underdogs against the Bills. I would say neutral site, even in Philly, it'd probably be like a 2-1 point line. But we were talking offline. The two teams that you guys both had to finish your power rankings were the Vikings and Giants. And I had the Ravens and Chargers, and you guys were having some disagreements with my picks. And I said, there's no difference in these teams. The Ravens and Chargers are the same team as the Vikings and Giants. And that kind of seems to be what we're seeing a lot in the league, that there's a lot of parity there. There's a lot of similarities.
I'll step in on the Ravens, like until they can figure out the issues on the defense, like Lamar Jackson has to basically play perfect for them and able to win. Yeah, and that's why I disagree with you on the Ravens.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they got major trouble in the back end of their defense right now. They get out to these early leads, but then they can't hold anybody second half of the game.
And you saw it, like Lamar Jackson making the mistake that he made last week, like that shouldn't lose a game for them, but they're put in those positions because of their defense.
But like, this is the same like pushback I have against you. It's 1 week later. You both have the Giants in the top 5. Can either of you name a receiver that plays on the Giants? Can either of you name a wide receiver that plays for the Giants?
Damn it. I even watched.
Who is Daniel Jones throwing the ball to? So if you cannot name a wide receiver, how are they a top 5
begins
team?
with a W.
It starts with the W he has. That's all he's got. He's trying to play Wheel of Fortune to get to the Giants wide receiver. Like,
can I buy a vowel?
All right. Well, maybe I'll buy your Vikings belief, but like I just these teams are so similar. There's not much distinction between three.
Like me and Nick would probably agree with you that it gets very hard in that middle portion with the power rankings, because everybody is just kind of like nobody really has differentiated themselves.
No, it's still too early to tell. I mean, a lot of these teams that are up here in our power rank, well, not a lot of them, a few of these teams could very well go off and lose 5 straight and then be at the bottom of our rankings.
Well, even a team that like I wrote off, like the Steelers, like look what they managed to do. And I wrote off the Panthers, and I mean, if they are able to keep up with the Bucks this season, like you can't necessarily write them off as just like this complete trash team, which they kind of are, but we'll see.
I think you're safe. On that one. I think you're safe on writing off the Panthers. I think you could put that one in ink. I think you're.
But there's a lot of parity in the league this year for sure, and we've talked about it in previous episodes. Like there only seems to be like 2 or 3 teams that they're kind of just in that elite tier right now.
Yeah, that is true. All right,
and even one of those teams got beat by the goddamn Sun.
Let's take a look here. Go to these pick'ems. Last week, I'm keeping up this hot streak. Somehow I'm still on top. Went 9-5 last week. Nick went 7-7, and Chris went 6-8. Still on that struggle bus, Chris. I don't know what's happening. Let's see. Season totals.
Not enough parity in the league, man.
No.
Too much
I'm just
parity.
hovering around that 500 mark.
The season totals, I'm at 56, 35, and 3. It's like 59%. Nick's 44, 47, and 3, like 47%. And Chris is 36, 55, and 3, like 38%. Third of the way through.
Still some time. Still some time.
Still some time to increase that. To increase that, Billings. Don't worry. Don't worry. All right. We got first game, Saints, Cardinals. Cardinals 2.5-point favorites.
Game literally happening right now.
Yeah.
Thursday Night Football, Amazon Prime. Nick is on his lonely island picking the Cardinals. Did you not get the Call of Duty release calendar or what? Like, why are you picking the Cardinals?
I mean, the Cards have lost 8 straight at home. I think that streak's going to end. Return of Hopkins. I think that gives Kyler a little more to play with than Call of Duty.
Yeah, those are good points. Billings, why are you picking the Saints?
It's because I don't believe in that Cardinals team primarily, but I will update you. Second quarter, 1 minute left. Cardinals up 20-14 over the Saints.
Oh, high scoring game. That's new. I haven't seen one of those in primetime in a while.
But
I agree with Bill. I don't have much faith in that team.
Yeah.
That Saints team seems like they're just going to do a little bit more. Andy Dalton has to win one of these goddamn primetime games eventually. I think he's lost like 9 or 8 straight or something. And the Cardinals, they're falling apart. It's just a matter of time before Kingsbury gets fired. I just not a believer in that squad at all.
There's just another weird team where like I feel like their fan base has to be frustrated of just like what are we doing? Where are we going? Like clearly like you have to go forward with Kyler Murray. Like he's your best option. You're not gonna find a better option than him at the moment. And so it's like what do you do? Like who do you go out to find to be your coach? Like what better weapons can you surround him with? And so another fan base that has to just be incredibly frustrated at the moment.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I don't know how to fix that team either. Kyler just doesn't have much discipline in his game. Speaking of discipline, Baltimore Ravens, 6.5-point favorites at home against the Browns. I'm picking the Ravens, going so far as to say this is my lock of the weekend. Is that Nick picking the Ravens and then Billings picking the Browns? Ravens are going to blow this team out. This is one of these games where you're just waiting for the Ravens to have this moment where Lamar Jackson has like 5 touchdowns and you're like, oh yeah, that's right. That guy's an MVP. This Browns team stinks. Jacoby Brissett couldn't even get 4th and inches against the Patriots last week, losing to Bailey Zappi. Get the fuck out of here, Brisket. I'm almost ready to say bring on Watson, but we know it. We know about him. But like they are trash. And if literally you shut down Nick Chubb, that team cannot move the ball. Ravens win big. Give me the Ravens. Why am I wrong, Billings?
This divisional matchup first off, and that, like I said, the Ravens defense just can't like contain anyone. And like the Browns, they've had just some weird luck in their games. Like they've been competitive and for the most part in all of their games this year. Just some weird fluky things that have happened. And they honestly should have a better record than they have. Then also just that 6.5 stands out to me. Like that just signals like Vegas not willing to go with the whole touchdown there. So yeah, it's most likely going to be closer than a touchdown.
Yeah, I agree with Tony though. I think that the Ravens, their issues aren't in their pass defense. I think they're able to stop Chubb, and Jacoby's just not going to be enough.
Yeah, It should be a good one. We'll see what happens, but we'll see Billings over there with this Deshaun Watson defense, fluky things that shouldn't have happened. Come on, the Browns, they are exactly where they should be. Nobody
They deserve it. No, don't get me wrong. They deserve to be where they are. But I think it was you that predicted, like, originally with that suspension that they were gonna have like a 3-1 record. And I was like, no fucking way.
No.
And like they kind of almost did.
But they're the Browns. They're the Browns. So come on, let's not forget. They're the Browns. They're Brownie. Come on.
And like, let's not forget that they split with the Browns last season, and that was a much worse Browns team. So, and a much better Ravens team.
That's true. That's true. They are division matchups. Rivalry games are always close, but I got a feeling this weekend about Lamar. Might have to throw some money on that guy. What? I was trying to skip this Bucks-Panthers game. I know it's an 11-point spread, but for some reason I see Billings
Fox probably trying to skip this game as well.
Why are you picking the Panthers? Why, Billings? Like you saw the Sam Darnold news, or like why are you?
Because that Bucks team, they're weird right now, and that they just couldn't even beat the Steelers. It's ridiculous. So like, I think most likely like they still beat the Panthers, but it's going to be by 10 points. That's my prediction.
Damn,
Like that 11 points, just way too much. Is a divisional matchup. It is the Bucks having to play on the road. And who knows, little Mr. Fancy Pants Brady, like, oh, he has to travel and he's going to be uncomfortable. And
what do you have to say to this man, Nick? What do you have to say to this man?
I don't even know how to respond to that one, but I think the Bucks. I think they take it out on these Panthers. I think Brady's still upset from losing to the Steelers last week, and I believe this Panthers team's lost the last 2 games by at least 14 points. So I think it might be 3 in a row.
Panthers are dead. Bury them. They're long gone. They're so fucked. They're trash. Brady was hungover from Robert Kraft's wedding last weekend. Like, I'm sorry. All right. I'm giving him that pass. I know he doesn't show up to practice half the time, but they're blowing this Panthers team out. Like, I know the Panthers are going to try and showcase McCaffrey to get his trade value up. No. Bucks blowout. Give me that one. All right. Staying with this.
what if Christian McCaffrey ends up on the Bucks?
Ooh, touche. I can't imagine an in-division trade like that though, but that would be nice.
They would for the right price.
That is true. They do need assets. All right. We have the Falcons. Arthur Smith, this man, he's a coach. This guy's a legit coach. Going to the Bengals, 6.5-point dogs. This game, I'm on my lonely island picking the Bengals here, it looks like, while both of you guys are picking the Falcons. Why are you picking the Falcons?
I think they stay perfect against the spread this season. I'm going to keep riding until they lose.
Fair. Billings?
The Falcons team has actually been much more decent than we all predicted, weirdly. And the Bengals team
a little bit.
Yeah, they are a little bit like that Seahawks team, where just kind of everybody seems to be underestimating them. And the Bengals, they're just the perfect team to underestimate the Falcons. So, like, I honestly wouldn't be surprised if the Falcons won this game.
I could see that.
Also, once again, we're in year 2 of me. Like, I'm having the hardest time with Arthur Smith and Arthur Blank. Every time you talk about him, I'm just like, the owner's not coaching.
Wait, Tony first started saying it, I had that same thought.
Man, he's a good coach, though, and he has just assembled such a mishmash of talent. Kyle Pitts, Cordarrelle Patterson, Marcus Mariota. I'm just like, what is going on here? Somehow it works. But I feel like it's going to be like 6-7. I feel like it's a touchdown game. Bengals at home. Looks like Burrow was clicking last game against the Saints. I just got a feeling this week. Let's go ahead and move forward here. What do we got? Cowboys, Lions, 7 points. Man, both you guys, again, disagreeing with me, picking the Cowboys. Feels like a push. 7 felt like a push to me. That's why I picked the Lions. Feels like the perfect backdoor cover action. Lions are down 14, and then they come back late and cover. Why are you guys picking the Cowboys to cover?
Lions can't stop anybody. I think, like I just said, Dak has an easy team to go up against, and this Cowboys defense is just going to be too much for this Lions offense.
Billings?
The Lions defense stinks. I think the Cowboys win big in this game. Like, honestly, I see them winning by probably like 3 touchdowns.
Yeah.
That's how bad that Lions team is.
That is true. Dan Campbell's not the answer there.
Like, it'd be cool if they did, if they got into a shootout with the Cowboys, but with that Cowboys defense, ain't gonna happen. Jared Goff's gonna have a face full all game.
Sounds like it. Okay. This is an interesting one. Giants and Jaguars. Jaguars 3-point favorites. Billings' Lonely Island pick is the Giants this week. I've heard a lot of people talk about the Giants being underdogs and how they didn't understand this. Why are you picking the Giants, Billings?
Because they're the better team. I'm not buying into
name
this.
A wide receiver for this team. You cannot name a wide receiver. This is multiple weeks.
Name a wide receiver for the Jags.
Christian Kirk.
Nah. Nah. Anyways, Giants, better team. They'll just run it with Saquon. So they won't even have to worry about that Florida Heat because they're just gonna run it with him all day. Yeah, like no. And then also like the defense is pretty decent as well. And so I think they're just gonna be in Lawrence's face the whole game.
Nick, why are you on the other side?
I'm thinking, I mean, the Giants do have 5 wins this year, but each of those 5 wins is by 8 points or less. I think this Jags team that's lost a few straight games is going to bounce back at home. And yeah.
I'm with Nick. That Giants team they're surviving these games. They are surviving these games. They are not necessarily winning these games. They're surviving these games. That Jags team, they have a legit pass rush. I think they're going to get Daniel Jones to fumble. And if they get that guy to fumble a couple of times, that's going to be the key to the game.
It's going to be hard to fumble when you're just handing the ball off the whole game.
That's fair.
It does happen, though.
That is fair. Yes, it does.
Yeah, only if you're the Denver Broncos.
All right. Before I fumble through this anymore, let's see what we got. Another divisional showdown. Titans 2.5-point favorites against the Colts. All of us are in agreement with the Titans. Why is this spread so small? Why are the Colts getting so much credit here? What do you think, Billings?
Divisional matchup. People don't like all season. People really haven't known what to do with that Titans team. And so I like Colts, in my estimation, like they're just riding high. They got to come back down to reality. They're not a very good team. And also, I think that Titans defense, like they're going to be able to feast on Matt Ryan. Like I think he's going to have a multiple interception game against that secondary.
Jonathan Taylor's coming back. Does this change anything?
I don't think it really does because I think this Titans team coming off the bye week, Henry in that last game started to come alive. I think he had like 115 yards or something like that. I think with the bye, this team playing at home, and with like what Chris said, that people don't know what to do with this Titans team. I think the same can be said about this Colts team. I think that's probably why this spread is so close, because of the division game.
And Vrabel will gladly stack the box against Jonathan Taylor and make Matt Ryan pass on him the whole game. He will gladly do that.
I agree with you guys. This Colts team, they suck. We know what they are. They are not good. The Titans, they're deceptive because of Ryan Tannehill. I can't ever look at them objectively. The man owes me money, so I like, what the heck, man? Son of a bitch. That's right, Tannehill. That's right. You owe me. Okay. Speaking of someone that owes me, Packers on the road against the Commanders. Packers, 4.5-point favorites. Both of you guys are picking the road favorite Packers. Why?
Because this Commanders team they might be better with Wentz being hurt, but they're going to a backup quarterback.
Heineke.
Yeah, I know. I just don't think Aaron Rodgers loses this would be 3 straight games.
I did say that last week. I was like, there's no way he's losing to 2 New York teams in a row. For me, the Packers. This is what I like to call a get-right game for the Packers. And he needs to recenter and find his chi again against the Commanders.
Yeah, I'm not buying it. No, the Packers stink this whole season. It's a shitty ayahuasca trip for you, Aaron Rodgers. Let me tell you, I'm glad that you, along with Russell Wilson, decided to hijack and rob franchises of all kinds of money, because the teams they put around you are absolutely trash. And you guys shouldn't be a road favorite at all. You lost to the Jets at home, and it wasn't close. And you lost to the Giants, who we still can't name a wide receiver on their team. So I don't even know what their secondary was doing all game. So nope, the Packers stink. Commanders cover. I don't know if they can win, but they definitely cover. There's no way that Packers team deserves to be a road favorite. They stink. Speaking of stink, Billings Broncos. 1-point underdogs at home against the Jets. It's actually his lock of the week is the Jets. Tell us more, Billings.
It's correct. I'm telling you, man, like the vibes I'm getting from the Broncos, and just their locker room, like things are bad in there. And there's division, and I think that's only just going to continue to percolate. And that Jets team, they're trending in a completely opposite direction that the Broncos are. And I think they're just going to carry that energy, and they're going to win.
Why is Billings wrong, Nick?
I think I'm going against it. It's sort of like what he was just saying with that Packers game. I think Russ finds a way at home in a non-prime time game to put it together and bring these Jets back down to life.
God. Zach Wilson is not going to beat the Broncos. I just cannot see that. I think the Broncos defense causes some turnovers.
Well, as we've seen, the Broncos just beat themselves.
They've had
like, honestly, you just need to show up against the Broncos.
They've had a rough start. I just think that the Jets I think they're feeling themselves too much. Sauce Gardner with his little cheese head incident celebration. I just don't think the Jets are that good. Give me the Broncos. They're home underdog. I'm going to take that one for sure. Oh, gosh. Texans.
Sauce Gardner probably going to have an interception in this game. I'm just saying.
Billings betting on Sauce to get an interception. We'll see. All right, another game that I was going to skip through here, Texans and Raiders. Somehow there's some disagreement. 7-point spread. Raiders are favored at home against the Texans. Billings is picking the Raiders at home while Nick and I are on the Texans.
Are you guys going for the push or what? I don't understand what you're going for.
That's partly. I believe this one could go as a push, but neither one of these teams is any good. I think. Push. Yeah, push.
I would pick a push. That feels like a push right there. That's too many points.
Oh, come on.
I think this is more of a push than that Lions Cowboys game.
Do you have insight after visiting your cellmate Devontae, or like how do you know this team's good?
They're playing at home. Like that Texans team isn't that good, and like honestly, like I think that Derek Carr like honestly has a game.
All right. Okay. Fair enough.
They are coming off a bye too.
That's true. Both teams are.
That's true. Both teams are. But one's playing at home.
Darius Slayton. That's
Darius Slayton. A Giants wide receiver has been named Darius Slayton. Okay. All right. Seahawks at Chargers. Chargers 5.5-point favorites. Looks like Billings is picking the Chargers again. Why are you picking the Chargers on this one?
It's a bounce back game for them. Like they didn't play to
What
their
are they
best
bouncing back
They're
from? They
bouncing back
won.
from a game they should have lost last week.
They won.
And they're going up against a much better coach this week with Pete Carroll and Geno Smith, like looking pretty good. But I think they can at least win by 6. That's why.
I don't think
5.5 is suspicious. If this was at 6,
Suspicious.
I would go with Seahawks. But yes, 5.5, not buying that. It's going to be a 6-point game. Chargers.
What do you got, Nick?
I think the Chargers go up early in this game, but Justin Herbert throws a couple pick sixes, makes it close at the end. They win on a late field goal.
I wanted to pick the Chargers 2 Billings, but I watched that Monday night game and I watched that Chargers field goal kicker go to the ground screaming after every field goal kick with like a torn hamstring.
That's a show. This is look at me, Louie, right there.
Well, I don't know who the kicker is going to be. So in a tight game like that with the points, I'm going to go ahead and take the points for the Seahawks because I don't think the Chargers are going to have a kicker that can go ahead and score for them this weekend.
Justin Herbert's arm. You don't need a kicker.
You mean the heist that DraftKings ran where like they offered that boost for him to throw a passing touchdown in the only game of his career that he's never thrown a passing touchdown happened on Monday?
Wait, you said he had an arm? Didn't he come up short last week?
He did.
On a Hail Mary throw?
He did.
From a 50? I think Tua could have made that throw.
Oh, there it is. There it is.
There it is. Speaking of quarterbacks that short arm some throws, we've got Jimmy G and the Niners, 2.5-point underdogs against the Chiefs after the Chiefs lost to the Bills. I'm on my lonely island here picking the Niners, and I see Billings scratching his chin trying to figure out what the hell I'm thinking. Nick is like, what the hell are you thinking? Tell me why you guys are backing the Chiefs.
I think the Chiefs bounce back big. I still do not believe in this Niners team. So I think Patrick Mahomes has a big day.
That Niners team had a good defense, and now they are wounded. Injuries starting to catch up with them. So, like, their best asset isn't really going to be working at 100% for them against second best offense in the league.
Yep, I agree with you. That makes sense. Still picking the Niners.
You somehow think Kyle Shanahan's gonna put on his wizard hat and figure out a way in this game, and no.
Yeah, this game is a classic Vegas trap, late afternoon game, heavy favorite. Chiefs will probably be in multiple teams' parlays, being all kinds of people trying to gamble on it. Nobody's picking the Niners. Home dog. They're also coming off a loss against the Falcons. Strong run game. Keep the ball away from Mahomes. Good defense. Not as good as it used to be. There's my upset of the weekend. Niners win that game by a field goal, and they just keep the ball away from Mahomes. Chiefs got to make a move. We'll see what happens. That's my prediction on that.
My bank account would agree with you there. Chiefs gotta make some moves.
All right. Speaking of making moves, we got the Dolphins making the move to have Tua as the starter at home. Sunday Night Football, 7-point favorites against the Steelers. We talked about it earlier. This is Nick's lock of the week.
Yes.
What
I think it's just the combination Sunday Night Football under the lights. Brian Flores coming back to Miami. They're going to be in their throwback jerseys, celebrating the 50th anniversary of the 72 season and the return of Tua. I think just all that with the fan base, it's going to be going crazy in that stadium. I think the team feels it and they win this game big.
Billings?
Fastest way to silence a Steelers fan is just tell them y'all haven't been right since you got beat by Tebow. Yeah, like I don't know how this game is in Sunday Night Football. Like, no offense to Dolphins, more offense to the Steelers than anything. But like, is Mitch Trubisky playing? Is that like what's going on
See,
here?
and now I'm completely confused on the concussion protocol because
You and me both, brother.
the week before, Teddy Bridgewater was in concussion protocol till Thursday and couldn't even go to practice. Kenny Pickett had a clear concussion, and he was back at practice Wednesday. Does not make sense to me. I do not understand these concussion protocols.
A strongly worded letter needs to be written to Mr. Goodell from Nick, who's not 2-9. Just saying.
Let's be honest. The first letter that needs to go to Roger Goodell is the refs stink this season.
They do. They do stink.
Like that's the only way I see the Dolphins not covering the spread, is if the refs continue to stink and fuck them over. But yeah, that Steelers team, not very good. They pulled out a lucky one last week. They're not gonna do it 2 weeks in a row.
I agree. I'm buying what Nick's selling.
Mm-hmm.
I think Tua's return brings all kinds of energy to the team. I want to say blow them out, but something makes me feel like it's going to be in danger of being a push. I hope it's a blowout.
I think first game back, like Tua will still have some struggles. Like I still think like you might have like a 1 or 2 interception game, but like he's still gonna cover the spread. Like I think there'll be some visible struggles from him coming back, and I think Tomlin will find ways to irritate him as well. But yeah, won't be enough.
Agree. Speaking of struggles,
yeah,
we're all gonna have to watch this Bears Patriots Monday Night Football game. Patriots favored by 8 at home. All of us picking the Patriots. I mean, I don't know anyone that's picking the Bears. What's the point of this?
Mad Justin Fields, man.
Yeah. I think.
Oh yes, I did write this down. I actually have a question.
There was a time when Broncos Country like felt like they missed on Justin Fields. I don't think that's the case anymore. Yeah, like ugh.
He just does not look good in that offense. That team is just, they need to let him be him. Maybe watch some tape on the Ohio State from when he played there, come up with some play calls that way, because whatever they're doing right now is just not working.
Well, it's still even the plays that seem like they're designed for him, like they're just so like rudimentary, and like he can't even execute on those. So yeah, that Bears offense is brutal, and I'm surprised they've won as many games as they have.
Here's my question. Justin Fields, does he play for the Chicago Bears, the Carolina Panthers, the Atlanta Falcons, or the Detroit Lions next season? Which one of those teams?
I think they'll still stick with the Bears. Will stick with them.
My question: he could be on one of those teams, though.
My question for Nick, since he missed the post game, is there a QB controversy in New England?
There may be. I don't know. Coming into the season, everyone thought Mac Jones was God. So I don't know what happened here. I think just these Boston fans are delusional, and they're just looking for the second coming of Tom Brady, no matter who it is.
Bailey Zappi was good. He was good. Yeah, I was surprised. I was like, he can play. So didn't they say Mac Jones is going to be the starter when he comes back, though?
You never know with Bill Belichick, though. Like, he's not afraid to make the call.
Against the Bears, Bill Belichick could play quarterback, and they would still win. They are covering that spread. All of us.
It's not necessarily these games. It's also like, what are they seeing in terms of reps and practice and stuff like that. So we'll see. Like for me, Zappi's looked better than Mac Jones. Like, honestly, he's looked better than Mac Jones even did last year.
I'd agree with that.
But who knows? They could be seeing something completely different in practice that they don't agree. But I think there is a controversy there.
I'd agree. All right, let's get to it here. And then we have the Bills, Rams, Vikings, and Eagles on a bye week this week, so no games for them. Is there anything you would like to plug before you get out of here, Nick?
Let's go Dolphins.
There he is. There he is. He's not 2-0. He's confirmed. What do you got, Billings?
I will say this, like Bills and Vikings and Eagles all getting some early bye weeks. And see how that plays out for them.
I don't see our power making rankings changing that much with those teams on a bye.
Yeah, that's true. Power ranks is probably not going to change too much next week, but yeah, interesting to see how they bounce back from those bye weeks early and what it does for them in terms of just overall player health and whatnot. So yeah, that's it. Nothing to plug for me.
Thank you for watching, everyone. We are the Sports Buds. This has been the NFL Show Week 7. Like, comment, follow, subscribe. Have yourselves a wonderful Sunday.
Thanks for watching the Sports Buds. Be sure to like, follow, and subscribe.